My Hero Academia chapter 321 is titled From Class 1A to One for All. The chapter opens up with Kirishima, Hagukare, and Aoyama giving the unconscious dictator to Endeavor, who just got there in his car. Now, this is a callback to the car that we saw in the last chapter, which basically turns out to be Endeavor's car. Man, every one of those is definitely riding a fancy car. He says that he needs them to keep the close civilians safe, but Hawk says leave them to Best Jeanist, because it would be better, since Best Jeanist is a pro hero and Class 1A are just students. But Endeavor puts his trust in the Class 1A student, saying that they are helpful. The chapter then shifts to Shoto, who's screaming at Deku, telling him that he doesn't know what All for One real plan is. He says that All for One might take the chance to attack UA, so they have to fight together. But Deku replies, this is a fight between One for All and All for One, so do not interfere. Deku then breaks free of Shoto's ice. Tsuyo then tries to capture him with her tongue, but he dodges it. But it turns out that this was all a plan to unleash Mineta to the sky. Mineta attacks with his new technique. Mineta beats 10 joints and captures Deku. Mineta talks about Deku and tells him that One for All wasn't cool and I never really thought it was cool. What made you cool is the ability to act when you are trembling in fear. Wow, Mineta just spoke like golden words right there. Despite the fact that most of what he says is pointless, this was actually an important sentence. Deku then apologizes to Mineta and unleashes Black Whip to a close building. At the same time, he unleashes Black Whip at Mineta, sending him far from him. And as he's getting close to the building, he gets ready to unleash Fusion. But Uraraka comes from the sky and says, I won't let you run away. Uraraka have a flashback when she said that Bakugo will feel frustrated to be rescued by everyone. But this time, it's different. But before she finishes her sentence, Deku dodges her and shoots to the sky, flying. Uraraka screams, guys! We then see all of Class 1A working together. Shoto creating his huge ice wall, similar to the ones we saw in the sports festival in Kamino, and Ashito creates Corrosion Acid Man. Dark Shadow and Sato push Deku and Shoto to the sky. Shoto then uses his Flash Freeze hit wave, blasting Bakugo to the sky in the process. Uraraka then makes him float. She then says they have a lot to talk about, but the words will not reach him. She says they don't want him to protect them, and they are not denying his ways. They just want to be with his side. Bakugo unleashes a new technique in mid-air explosive speed turbo cluster and shoots Lida to skyrocket to the sky, as he's covered by Ashido Acid Man. Bakugo then says, I have something to tell you, but now Lida is the only one that can resist this high speed. Ida then grabs Deku's hand and he then says, I'm challenging you. The chapter then shifts to the One for All world, where the second user said that something that can bolster Deku now. And that's how this amazing chapter ends. Now I gotta point out a couple of things that you might not have understand fully. The first one is basically where, Shoto and the Class 1A team up to make this huge ice wall similar to Kamino and, similar to the sports festival. Now this is actually Bakugo paying back his debt to Deku, where Deku basically thought of this plan to save Bakugo, and now Bakugo is using like the same plan to save Deku. It's kind of like a similar thing. And if you're wondering why they sent Lida, why they didn't send anyone else, well, Lida is basically a close friend of Deku. They have been friends for a really long while, and they are really good friends. So it was obvious that Ida would be the one to, grab Deku's hand and, says that I'm Ingenium, I'm challenging you to a fight. And, the One for All world then, goes back there and the second user talks about that. Another cool thing to think about is that why right now that the second One for All user said that's something that can bolster Deku right now. Why is it Ida? Why isn't it Bakugo? Well, if you remember a while back, I did, a theory video about who the second and the third user might be. And I basically told you that the second user, like the third user, might have a speed type quirk that, can boost their speed. And, with the One for All singularity and the quirks getting stronger and stronger, it might be the one that, can boost Deku and make him, travel through time or something like that. So it was really interesting to see that. I imagine the next chapter will probably be like a small fight between Ida and Deku, and maybe probably Deku is the one who's winning, and he might actually like escape and falling into All for One plan as I predicted. But, you know, we'll just have to wait and see. But this is how this amazing chapter ends. I really like how, you know, Horikoshi Sensei said that he actually, like, love hands and stuff. So he just tries to bestow that and shows that every time. And, you know, it shows that Class 1A is not giving up on Deku. They are trying to save him no matter what. So it's pretty interesting, and I really like the chapter. If you guys enjoyed this video and this summary, feel free to thumbs up this video, or feel free to join up this channel. I would really appreciate it. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you all next time.